Hi, my name is Tash and I'm a dive instructor at Big Bubble Dive on Gili in Indonesia. Big Bubble Dive is home to the exclusive Gili Turtle ID and Conservation specialty, which I wrote and now teach. So I'm just going to start with a couple of reasons why I think turtles are so cool. They are essentially dinosaurs. They've been around for approximately 150 million years. The current lineage of turtles, so basically the turtles that we see now, have looked this way for 65 million years. They can hold their breath for up to 7 hours if they're not being super active, which most of the time they're not. And sometimes you'll see them cry, or it looks like they're crying. They have little kind of tear tracks down their faces, and that is how they get rid of salt out of their system. So the water that they drink is seawater, which is obviously salty. So to get that salt out of their system, they cry it out. The Gili Turtle ID and Conservation course is a one-day course. It's a PADI specialty and it includes 2 dives, a knowledge development session and a quiz. I wrote the specialty because I wanted to learn more about turtles myself. I wanted to create a database of all the turtles we have, or all the regulars we have around the Gili Islands, and I also wanted to be able to share that with other people. So with the help of the Gili Eco Trust and the Gili Shark Conservation community, I was able to collect some backdated data about the turtle population around the area, and then I also did a few of my own research dives as well. There are 7 different species of turtles worldwide, but in the Gilis, the 2 main species are the hawksbills and the greens. Diving in the Gilis is great. You're pretty much guaranteed a turtle on any dive you do, at any of the dive sites that we have. There is one in particular called Turtle Heaven, sometimes it's called Turtle Point, and that is off the island of Gili. That is where a lot of turtles tend to hang out. The majority of them are green turtles, but it's a really, really beautiful site. Another site we tend to go to on the course is called Shark Point. It is called Shark Point because there are sharks around, but up in the shallows, about 5 to 12 meters, there are turtles everywhere. At Shark Point we see both species of turtles, so the greens and the hawksbills. Hawksbills being slightly smaller with pointier faces, and they always tend to be eating, whereas the green turtles are normally just chilling and sleeping. During the course we learn about the distinguishing features of both, as well as distinguishing features of the other 5 species. On the first dive of the course, we collect data, non-invasive data, which basically means just observing the turtles. We record what depth we see them at, how big they are, if we can determine whether they're male or female, and what they're doing at the time. We use a piece of string to measure the turtles. Along the piece of string, I've tied little knots at 20 centimeter intervals so that we can determine how long the turtle is as well as how wide. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging because the turtle can be halfway under a piece of coral or a rock or something like that. The reason we use a string to measure the turtles instead of a stereotypical T-stick, which is a solid kind of PVC pipe, is because the turtle shells are curved. The shells are also known as carapaces, and they are made up of things called scutes. Scutes are what make up the outer part of a turtle's shell. It's a little bit like fingernail material. It's quite hard. So turtles have scutes on their shells, on their fins, and also on their faces and heads. They can change shape over time, but the ones on a turtle's face will change the least. Facial scutes are unique to each individual turtle. It's essentially like a fingerprint for a human. They're all completely unique. So those are the ones we use to identify the turtles because those are most likely to stay the same throughout their lifetime. Green turtles have 2 prefrontal scutes, which are basically 2 scutes that are on the front of their head here. That is different from every other species of turtle. Every other species of turtle has 2 pairs of prefrontal scutes, so they have 4 on the fronts of their heads here, between their eyes. So that's a really easy way to distinguish green turtles from hawksbill turtles and any other species as well. The biggest turtle we've measured around the Gili Islands is approximately 150 centimeters long, which is almost the same height as me, and it's 130 centimeters wide. She's a female that we see at a dive site most of the time called Shark Point, and we've named her Bruce, even though she is a female. A turtle's gender can be quite hard to determine because it depends on the length of their tails. It's easier with green turtles than it is with hawksbills because green turtles' tails in general are kind of out on show more, whereas the hawksbill turtles are smaller in general, so it can be quite hard to tell the difference between a male and a female. Male turtles will have longer tails. They tend to be wider as well. Other telltale signs would be the claws that they have on their front fins or flippers. The male's claws tend to be longer because those are what they use to attach themselves to the female when they're mating. Gender of a turtle is determined when they are still in the nest. It's actually the temperature of the nest that determines which gender the hatchlings will be. This is called temperature dependent sex determination, or TSD. Females come from warmer parts of the nest, which tend to be closer to the surface of the sand, and males come from the colder parts, closer to the bottom. Female sea turtles will always return to the same beach they were born on to lay their eggs and dig their nests. So it's super important when they're babies for the turtles to actually do that little walk down to the sea on their own, because they get an imprint on their belly, which basically somehow tells them how to get back when they're ready to have babies of their own. It's really important to keep the beaches clean so that they don't get stopped by any kind of plastic or big boxes or anything like that. They don't become entangled. The journey from the nest to the sea is probably the most dangerous time in a turtle's life. They're very vulnerable because they're really small. Lots of different predators can come and get them. Once they make it to the sea, they're not out of danger either. So some bigger fish like trevallies, can come up to the surface and eat them. They're also prone to being hit by boats, birds again. So there's lots and lots of different things that are threats to turtles when they're young. Global warming has had a big impact on turtle populations because the sand and temperatures in general are warmer now. There are more females than males in turtle populations. When it comes to mating time, it can be an issue because there aren't enough males to go around. For anybody interested in underwater photography, turtles make perfect muses. Most of the time they're really chill, they're not moving around too much, they don't tend to hide from you. You can get quite close without interrupting them or disturbing them at all. The course includes taking photos of turtles for ID purposes. Again, it's all completely non-invasive. We don't touch the turtles at all. If they swim away from us before we've taken the photo or before any of the other data is collected, we just let them go. Sometimes taking pictures of turtles can be a little bit challenging just because they might be half under a rock or under coral. They also might not be stationary. But it is a perfect opportunity to practice perfect buoyancy and really improve your diving that way. As part of the course is seeing turtles in their natural habitat. They might be eating a jellyfish or having an argument with their neighbor, just swimming around. They're super graceful, super beautiful. Plus you get loads of photos of turtles to take home with you as well. If anybody has any questions about turtles, let me know, get in touch, or come and visit us on the Gili Islands.